This morning. Ladies and gentlemen, we're now in the hands of Ms. Lisa Lambert.
This is the pre-meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, October 10th. We have approval of minutes from October the 3rd.
It's good.
Appeals, we have request for waive of the noise ordinance on October 29th in Trinity Gardens Park from 6 a.m. until 4 p.m. May the 18th in Bienville Square from 2 p.m. until 5 p.m. October the 13th through the 14th from 2 p.m. until 9:30 p.m. on Marine Street. October 21st, 7 p.m. until 11 p.m. on Griffith Circle. And October 14th from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. in Medal of Honor Park.
Okay.
Public hearings. Today is the public hearing to consider approval of a conditional use permit to allow a home-based daycare in an R1 property located at 611 Shannon Street.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Daves, he asked us to hold this one over. I can't recall the date. It's in our email, so I'll get that to you all prior to the 10:30 meeting. But he asked us to hold it over until he returns.
We have to have the public-
Yeah, we got to
I
have-
understand.
Yeah,
But in the item on here as well?
it won't be
The
until
ordinance is
next
the
week.
first reading.
Okay.
It just won't be until
First
next
reading.
week. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Danny Corte is providing an update from the Sports Authority. Christine Dallas regarding Jawan Dallas, Sabrina Mask, concerns about bailiffs blocking citizens from sitting in municipal court. Reggie Hill regarding the year 24 budget amendments pertaining to public safety, housing, and contracting. Resolutions held over 01-1099, authorize agreement with Michael McDonald to provide racket stringer services to Parks and Rec. 08-1100, approve purchase order to FIS Outdoor for fertilizer for parks maintenance. 14-1102, approve an application seeking permission to incorporate a capital improvement cooperative district and authorizing such incorporation.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Mr. Reynolds, then Mr. Woods.
I'd ask that we table this one. And I think we should have some broader discussion about this, in a committee meeting, but not for this particular petition or application. Because it is a petition with an application attached, we don't have any ability to change this petition. We can't amend their application. And that's something that they would need to do. So I don't think it's necessary that we have a committee meeting on this particular application because I can't see myself getting there. So I just suggest that maybe we have a committee meeting to discuss maybe the broader issue of affordable housing and methods that may be out there to resolve some of these issues that exist before we move forward with any of this.
Mr. Woods.
Mr. President, just to kind of, I know this is Mr. Carroll's, he's sponsoring this. Mr. Carroll, we're kind of just to shed light, where kind of are we at on it, as far as, we talked about this a couple times. I mean, do we have the petitioners and obviously the three petitioners, and then from my understanding that, we have to still go and get the full county commission to sign on with us, also the school board to sign on with us, and then the RDA. And I know the RDA hadn't met yet. In 7 years, my representative hasn't even met with they've never met. I think they're meeting Wednesday or Thursday. Tomorrow. When can you kind of just shed some light on, I guess, how close are we? Are we going to be the only ones out here with, if we approve this, are we the only ones out here with it, or what?
We would be at. Well, actually, we'd be at this time the only ones that have approved what's the correct word here? The yes or application for the petition for us to actually move forward with a process. We're not approving a process with the petition. The petition only allows us to move forward with the process. I have learned over the last couple of days that the county's attorney was out for 2 weeks on vacation, which I didn't know last week. Talked to him this morning. He actually helped us set up this petition and this process, so they're extremely aware of what's going on. I have not I spoke to the county commissioner this morning, and Jay had not put it in her hands directly. Talked to Kressel, and by some ungodly reason, someone told him that he was the person that was supposed to sit on the board. I wonder who that was. You know what I mean? But no, he's been informed that all he has to do is once they get this is to appoint a person to it. And the RDA meets tomorrow. I think that if we need to, we can hold it over a week or two until we have everybody else signed on and know what they're going to do. But I don't have a problem with holding it over a couple of weeks. If you'd like to table or kill it, then I would suggest that we just vote it up or down at 10:30.
How long would you like to hold on, Mr. Carroll?
2 weeks and let everybody have time. I think that some of us talked to everybody else. We kind of know where they're thinking. We just don't know at what point in time they're going to pass it.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds?
like I said, we have no ability to modify this application. I don't understand why this particular item would be held over. I mean, I know where I'm at on this application. I mean, I appreciate the petitioners coming forward and taking an active role. And I've spoken to one of the petitioners and explained, kind of what I thought about it and my position on it and what I've come to learn. But anyways, we can't modify their application. So it's not necessary to hold it over. I would suggest that we, again, table it or, vote it up or down today and start on the next thing, have the broader discussion about affordable housing and what mechanisms are in place or we can put in place to help the process along.
Anything, Mr. Penn or Ms. Gregory?
I think before tabling or killing, we need to take at least a couple of weeks, if not longer, to work through some of the questions that have come up to make sure that we know where people are, including the school board, the county, et cetera, and go from there. So I would be in favor of at least a layover. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with my colleague. I don't believe that we should table this. I think we need to hear from everyone, give them an opportunity from the commissioner side. The lawyer been gone for 2 weeks. Hear from the school board as well. So if we need to give it 2 weeks, I don't see an issue with that.
The 24th or the 31st, Mr. Carroll?
That's fine.
Which one?
Let's go 31.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
211103, authorized contract with Canon Solutions America Inc. for print services and supplies. 211104, authorized contract amendment with Chris Francis Tree Care LLC for citywide tree maintenance and removal services. 601105, consent to the designation of a portion of Church Street from the intersection of McDonald Avenue to 160 feet east of the intersection of McDonald Avenue as a one-way street.
Just for knowledge, Mr. Carroll, why they changing that to just one way?
What's happening at Church Street from the old bunker fence at the end of Church where it enters into Flo Claire going to McDonald Street? There has been, the street narrows right there to about, I want to say 8 or 9 foot. And there's some bigger or larger trucks, sometimes trailers that come through there. One of the neighbors parks their car in their driveway right there. I think the car may have experienced maybe a little bit of bump, a little bit of bump right there or a little bit of scratching. The neighbors to the left, when you're going west, the McPhillips, their yard is constantly bumped, destroyed. The urns are knocked over. They've put up green wooden 4x4 bollards in the yard to keep vehicles from running up into the yard because you can't pass each other with the narrowness of the street. So if we turn and make that street one way going the other way, it prevents, the trucks from going in that way, and it keeps them on the larger 2 streets coming down McDonald in the front. And it only allows for, smaller traffic to come. Even the smaller traffic has to go one way, so you're not trying to pass, and it creates a larger street.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk?
Ordinances being introduced. 02047, ordinance to provide for the reapportionment of the 7 council districts for the city of Mobile.
Any questions, comment from the council?
Well, I still don't even know what the true defined boundaries are street by street. All I have is a big map with a broad swipe on it. I don't even know where the district ends and starts. I really don't. Nobody's given me that yet. Be nice. I mean, I'm not trying to be bad about it, but I couldn't tell you what the new streets are on the boundaries on the west or I think I know the southern one, but I don't know what the western boundary is, and I don't know what the northwestern boundary is.
Mr. President,
Ms. Gregory.
prior to next week, if we could all get a large map, if you will, of just the new districts per district, I think that will help. Because when you look online or even on some of the other information we have, it is kind of hard to tell. So just something that's a little bigger.
So you had the same problem.
Well, I just can't see, but anyway. So just something that's a little bigger that we can look at and be more defined.
Yeah, Mr. President. Yeah, I want to join in with my colleagues the same. Just, I know that Josh has the largest district probably in the history of the city of Mobile.
Well,
So-
one of these days, maybe we'll all have 40,000 people. Who knows? Yeah.
And so I know something need to be done, but I didn't know it was going to be on the agenda at this moment. So of course, questions came out pretty quickly, and because of the map and not being able to see it defined and clearly, it's hard to answer those questions. So we're able to have that information. That would be very helpful to be able to give that information to our constituents and knowing, if they're going to be in our district or they're not going to be in that particular district, to be able to get that information out pretty clear would be very helpful. Thank you, Mr. President.
64048 is the conditional use permit for Shannon Street.
Yeah, he wants to lay that over for a while,
It's
doesn't he?
first read.
Oh, okay, so we'll just do it next week.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Our rule would lay over
Yeah,
1 week
all right.
anyway.
Consent resolutions being introduced, 311108, authorizing application to the U.S. Department of Energy's Office of State and Community Energy Programs for the placement of a fellow to assist the Office of Resiliency. No cost for the fellowship and no local match. 371109, recommend approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a retail beer table wine off-premises only license to Central Stop on Howells Ferry Road. 581110, declaring weeds noxious, Group 1648. 60, 1111, 1112, 1113 are approving award of special bonus to the Parks and Recreation Employee of the Month, the Public Services Employee of the Month, and Public Works at Large Employee of the Month. 60, 1114, 1115, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23 are determining appropriations to Booker T. Washington Middle School, Miss Alabama Foundation doing business as Mobile Bay, Miss Mobile Bay, Tomanville Crichton Community Development Corporation, Trinity Gardens Community Civic Club, Trinity Gardens Falcons Athletics, Marching Cougars Band Booster Club, United Way of Southwest Alabama, Inc., the Child Advocacy Center, Inc., CC's Classic Catering, LLC, Jubilee Youth Service Leadership Academy, serve a public purpose and approving payment. CIP resolutions being introduced, 081124, approved purchase order to Vulcan Construction Materials for limestone for Helen Wood Park, $43,043. Resolutions being introduced, 01.
Madam Clerk, let's add me as a sponsor. And also, council, this is under 50,000. We can just take this up today. That would be great.
081124.
Yes,
Helenwood Park in your district?
yes.
What's the stone
That's
fee?
pretty much is a park. Actually, the state of Alabama actually owns it and the city actually leases it. But this park is very known for fishing. Citizens throughout the city of Mobile, but it actually been closed down because the Lord have mercy, where you stand on top of where you fish from?
Pier.
Been washed out for a couple of times from the storm. But we're actually trying to get it from the state of Alabama. I think the first of the year, they're looking to turn that over to the city of Mobile. But it's a big investment for the citizens in Mobile to fish.
Are we actually gonna put another pier out there?
Now, they plan on doing some other stuff besides trying to put a pier out there. But once we get the property in our hands, then we'll do other things. Madam Clerk.
Resolutions being introduced, 01-1125, authorized funding agreement with USA Wooden College of Medicine to construct an educational research building, $1 million per year for 10 years.
Council.
I got a hard time doing this. Just gonna be honest. So when it comes time to take it up, just gonna have to talk about it then.
Anyone else? Mr. Reynolds?
I'll just read briefly from a fact sheet I have here that the University of South Alabama in 2022 alone provided more than $100 million in unreimbursed care to our citizens. And they have provided over $1.1 billion of unreimbursed care since 1969. They have more than 9,000 employees. They'll have more than 12,000 employees, the University of South Alabama, now with the acquisition of Providence Hospital. And I think this new endeavor to construct a education and research building will be something that, allows us to better compete with Birmingham and other cities in the area with, attracting medical students here and, growing the city out. I think this is a fantastic endeavor for the University of South Alabama, and I support them in their growth.
Mr. President.
Mr. Penn?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Woods.
Just wanted to say I concur with everything that Ben said. I had the opportunity, I guess it's been about a month and a half ago, went and ate lunch with a former elected official, and who was elected at the time that Brooklyn got pulled away. Brooklyn was kind of the key thing that Mobile had. It was largest employer. And Brooklyn disappeared, and they said they all looked around the table and said, well, what now? And that was right around the time that, South started really getting up and going. And their decision was, as a community, as a county, as a city, as the southern part of the state, we got to pull together, and we have to make sure that South's a flagship. And I think over the course of time, you've seen South Alabama impact our community tremendously, from not only the free healthcare they provide, the education that they provide, the influence that they have in the area. And, you really do see that South's a flagship, and reinvesting into South Alabama, or investing in South Alabama, I think is a very wise decision. I ran a couple months ago, on the problem that Mobile has that we called the brain drain. For years and years, people that I grew up with, played baseball with, went over and played at their house, grew up with, went to high school with, they've disappeared for years and years. They go off to college, they go off and they find a career, but they never come back. And that's one thing that we have to address. I think investing, especially in medicine, making sure that we're number one in the state, I think is wise, and that'll hopefully keep the brain drain in Mobile from happening. And I'll just tell a personal story. My dad worked at Chevron for years and years, and one night he suffered, him and another guy suffered a burn. So instead of having to fly my dad up to Birmingham or somewhere else, my dad took advantage of South Alabama's burn unit. My middle child, Micah, when he was born, he was born a little early, so had some issues with breathing. Instead of having to fly Micah up to Birmingham, it was a quick ambulance ride over to Women's and Children's to the NICU. So I think the impact of South Alabama and the continuous impact that the city can have with South Alabama is very important. So I look forward to voting on this next week, and I just think it's going to be another feather in the cap of Mobile.
Anyone else?
Mr. President, there's no question the valuable resource that South Alabama or the University of South Alabama provides to the city of Mobile in its employment structure and the services it provides as healthcare. My concern is that we have people in the city that really need us, that are extremely poor, that are on the streets, that are living in cars, that don't even have a way to get to South Alabama, much less have health care or an insurance, even though South Alabama is the type of hospital that can take on issues like that. We've got people that need us too when it comes to affordable housing, but when I hear you say affordable housing, you want to run and hide. But when it comes to giving South Alabama an agency that has hundreds of millions of dollars, an additional $1 million a year, you're all for it. I mean, some of you just all for it. But when it comes to the poorest people in this city, oh, wait a minute, there's a problem here. We don't want to do it. We got to rethink this. So there's something wrong here. We want to run and give $1 million a year where we have an agency that has tens of millions, not less, $100 million. And a generating income, that's a revenue generating income for thousands. But what about those that really need our help? What about revitalizing the city and brain drain? People are leaving because there's nowhere to live also. And we don't have affordable housing, but we have to question that. But we run to give $1 million somewhere else. People are leaving because our streets are in disrepair in certain neighborhoods. But we overlook that, but we run to give $1 million somewhere else. We have an opportunity on both sides to do something great. But a lot of times we overlook the least people in this city and the people that truly need our help, where we need to make a serious impact. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Penn?
Thank you, Mr. President. Since I became a council member, I always state that Mobile have the opportunity to show the state, the rest of the world, how to do it. I'm a very optimistic person. I stated that in the beginning. I stated that when we started with redistricting to annexation, that we have an opportunity to show the state. I think we did that with redistricting. We said that because the numbers show we should have a fourth majority because of the numbers. That's the fair thing to do. You see, the state did the same thing, came behind us, and it's showing that. In this situation, South Alabama has been a major supporter of the city of Mobile. My son had a seizure, was in doctor office. I'm not gonna say where, but the particular location, hospital couldn't support what was going on. They had to rush him to USA Hospital Children. He was there for a while. They had to figure out, they was able to support him in that moment, help him. And I'm so grateful for USA. I have seen with my eyes the support they provided in my district. I have seen Dr. Ashley Williams, what she have supported young people in our district with the Project Thrive. And we so appreciative of those type of programs that South Alabama have provided. But I also understand the concerns of my colleague that it's so many different things that's taking place in our city, and our constituents are concerned sometimes, and they don't understand when they go outside their house and they see the conditions of their roads, or they see the conditions of their homes, or they see the conditions of their communities. That's why I was excited about the project that we started in the Tomerville community. But we need more of those things. We so far behind. And it's not our fault, but it's some things that we can do to make it better. And so I understand the concerns of my colleague, but I also understand that South is a major part of our city. We have to figure out how we are able to do both, how we're able to support the housing initiative, affordable homes, attainable homes, make sure that we support our community needs and provide those resources. At the same time, meet the needs of organizations like South Alabama, who are taking a big responsibility with even taking in Providence Hospital, that if Providence were to leave, what would take place? So we're grateful for that, but we have to figure out how to do both. We have to figure out how to do both. Thank you, Mr. President.
Did you have something, Mr. Woods?
And just to respond to Mr. Carroll, I'm not opposed to this, and okay.
All of Ms.
Okay.
Carroll.
I do. I know that we. I mean, I had a meeting yesterday. Affordable housing and housing in general in Mobile, the stock is down. We just can't keep up, and I definitely. I'm not opposed to Mr. Carroll, and I don't want to tie both of these together. I just, as far as the previous agenda item, I just don't want us to be the only ones out there. So I just want to make sure that we're going as a team to tackle the issue.
I understand, Josh, but let me clarify that. When I said you, it wasn't directed at you. I mean, you was should have used a better word, but it's an overall blanket. I mean, for so many years, even going back to when Gina and I were here the first time, it was a struggle to get the NRP program written to tie it into the nuisance abatement. I fought some of these same, questions then, but now it's a thriving bonus for this city. And what it started between the first administration under the Jones administration and what it's blossomed into under the Stimson administration, it has become a model program for the whole entire state. But we're at a point now when we can complete that section that I wasn't able to, that I shouldn't say that we were not able to complete before we left the first time. And it's nothing wrong with supporting South Alabama. I agree with that. But as Corey said, we have to be able to do those things for those that do not have also. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds.
I am happy to report to those who are paying attention and this city council that the city of Mobile was awarded $58 million in ARP funding. Of that $58 million, the previous city council has set aside $26 million in that ballpark towards these very items that were brought up here today. And I think it's very important that we use that money wisely and we use it effectively so that we can get at the core of these issues that are being raised by your constituents and that we all see. So I look forward to the discussion of the allocation of these funds, this $26 million aimed specifically for these very challenging issues.
Mr. President,
Carroll.
just some really quick math. An affordable house today is probably about $150,000. That's affordable. And that's going to be probably 900 to 1,100 square feet. City has a challenge to do about 2,000 units before 2026. So 150,000 times 2,000 that's right at $174 million. $26 million is only a drop in a bucket of what we really have to do over a long period of time. But a perpetual system in place where it doesn't stop long after you and I and this whole council is gone, put something in place that won't just be a drop in a bucket for one time and $26 million. Don't get me wrong, the $26 million is great and it's a good start. And there's some great projects in the budget to start us on the way. But the goal is to have it to where it is perpetual, to where there's a project or a system in place that will be here long after this council is gone. Just like the council in 2005, there's a system in place now that's continuing to help our city blossom and neighborhoods revitalize themselves. That's the end goal. Thank you, Mr. President.
And Mr. Carroll, I look forward to having those discussions. I truly do. I think there's a way forward on affordable housing. So I look forward to having those discussions.
Okay. Ms. Gregory.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And appreciate everything that my colleagues have had to say. I support investing in the University of South Alabama and in particular this College of Medicine. I look at this in many ways. It's a healthcare issue for the city of Mobile. It's an economic development issue. We put money into the expansion of businesses like Airbus, Austal, other businesses all the time. This is no different. This provides jobs. The College of Medicine, University of South Alabama provides jobs, provides physicians, provides healthcare for everyone in our city, from the neediest to the most wealthy. I too am a product of University of South Alabama Care through Mitchell Cancer Institute. I did all of my cancer treatment there. You don't have to go to Houston and other places to get the best healthcare available. We need to support this. We don't need to be pitting affordable, attainable housing against healthcare. They go hand in hand. We can do both. We just have to make it work. I don't have a problem with that. So as we talk about this, we need to be very positive in how we support the University of South Alabama and this new College of Medicine. The University of South Alabama is the flagship of the Gulf Coast. Look what UAB means to Birmingham. Look what UAB did for Birmingham. The University of South Alabama is on that same track, and we need to support that because that puts Mobile on the map. It provides more jobs, more income. The economic development opportunities for us because of having this College of Medicine and a flagship university with the College of Medicine and teaching hospital are tremendous. They look for things like this. When potential businesses or people coming in looking for properties to bring businesses or to expand, they're not only looking for arts and culture and education, they're looking for healthcare. Where are their employees going to get healthcare? And this is what the University of South Alabama provides. So again, let's not pit one against the other. Affordable, attainable housing are important for everyone in our community, as is healthcare. And so we need to support both.
Yeah, and I'd like to piggyback on all my colleagues. I agree with just about everything that was said at this table, and especially to my colleagues that's really interested in the affordable, attainable homes. You know, we have to stay on top of the administration and make sure that there is a roadmap out there to head that direction. We just cannot just say, block, pin one thing, as my colleague said, against healthcare, but we just need to pin the administration. And say, hey, what's the roadmap? Where are we going? If you take this amount of money and times it this, to this number here, where the extra money gonna come from? That's what we need to pin the administration with. But I do support this resolution that's in front of us because a lot of people that I represent, they work for USA Hospital, and a lot of people that I represent, they go to USA Hospital for healthcare. And a lot of people I represent leave out of Mobile because of healthcare. Reason that I vote for annexation because I visit Birmingham, I visit Huntsville, and see how productive those cities are growing. And just also knowing that Huntsville have a good healthcare hospital just as well as Birmingham with UAB, Mobile can have the same thing. And with that being said, that keeping people from traveling, having a good healthcare center right here in the city of Mobile, and making Mobile more, prominent than what it is today, I am game for that. So, we set our economic development money, and this is some of what, this is the reason why we set it out, for we can continue to grow our city. And this is one way we're going to be able to grow our city through healthcare, through jobs, and also keep people from traveling, have to go out of town with flights, gas, hotel stays. That money they can stay here and be at home and heal. Okay, Madam Clerk.
081126, approved purchase orders for fuel for various city departments. 081127, approved purchase order to Chemtech Corporation for fire skid units for Mobile Fire Rescue, $25,897.60. 081128, approved purchase order to eBuilder for a one-year project management software subscription, $25,589.45. 211129, authorized contract with Osprey Initiative to install and maintain litter collection devices citywide, $170,500. 211130, authorized contract with Bill Smith Electric for cruise terminal electrical upgrades for new gangway, $989,989.
Lots of nights.
Okay, yeah, $90,989. 211131, authorized contract of RHD's Building LLC for construction of Heroes Plaza, $8,869,601.
What are we, is this right over here at the convention center? $8 million. These are the statues. Okay, is the renovation tied to this too, that we're getting ready to do with the where we're sinking out there at the Cooper Riverside Park? It's separate from this. So these are what, 11 statues that we're doing for 11 million?
We have 5 baseball Hall of Famers,
Uh-huh.
1 football Hall of Famer, and 1 blank statue for future Hall of Famers.
I don't know where I got that.
Like,
I don't know where I got that 11 number from. I'm sorry.
The project started off as a $6.5 million project. And because of the time frame, when we started probably at least 4 years ago.
Can you push the mic?
Mr. Mayor, can you come to the mic? I'm sorry.
So the project started off at $6.5 million, probably, I'm guessing 4 years ago. And then when we put it out for bids, it came back at $10.5 million. It wasn't because of a scope change as much as it was because the contractors are all very, very busy right now. That's certainly part of it. And the escalation of materials is a piece of that. So when the bids came in at $10.5 million, we knew that we couldn't do that. And so we put it back out for bids and we were able to whittle it down to $8.5 million, where it is today. The $8.8 million. So this has been paid for by the TIF funds. And so it's going to be funded. Even the additional cost in there will be funded by TIF. And anyway, so we have a bunch of statues that have been ordered. Probably, I don't know if Matt Anderson is here when the statues will be here, but probably within the next 12 months. And it's going to be a great entryway, to the waterfront. It's going to be a magnet for people riding down Water Street, wondering, what are these 9-foot statues doing here? Hopefully, the idea is to get them to stop and, visit Cooper Riverside Park as it builds out also. And also, not the least of which is the first time we've had the opportunity to honor all of our Hall of Famers and inspire some of our young people to be Hall of Famers. So, yes, it costs more than what we anticipated, but we have the funding available for it, and we'd appreciate your approval.
So it's pre-budgeted from TIF.
Yes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds?
I don't see the statue cost in here. Maybe I'm overlooking it, but as far as this bid goes, this bid was $6.5 million, and then there were 6 alternates. Is there a separate contract that I'm not aware of for the statues?
Yes.
So this $8.8 million is not inclusive of the statues.
The statues are coming from a combination of, a lot of it's private contributions to do the commissioning and development of the statues.
So the city's not paying for the bronze statues themselves.
Majority of the bronze statues.
Is that in this contract?
No.
It's not. So we'll see an additional contract at a later date. It's already been approved. Okay. This is I think, a tremendous project. I like the idea, and I like the idea that it's paid for out of the TIF, even better. I just, unrelated, I guess, or somewhat related. I got an email regarding the lights on I-10 and throughout the city of converting them to LED lights. And this has been going on for some time, and we're doing additional lighting and street modifications. Are we drawing down on the capacity to get that job done to do this?
The I-10 lighting?
Well, not just I-10 lighting. I'm looking at an email that dates back to, let's see, May of 2022. in which you say that we'll be replacing missing lights. We opened bids last Thursday for preform foundation to replace light posts on Government Street, Airport Boulevard, and Dolphin Street. As soon as we receive the first shipment of foundation, we'll begin replacement. None of that work's been done, and we're a year plus out, from that.
No, those are, I mean, completely different funding sources. Number one, we wouldn't use TIF for that lighting project.
Understood.
Only in the TIF district, of which most, if not all, the lighting's already been done in the TIF district for the most part for LED. The interstates, I-10, I-65, the council approved about 3 years ago, and we did a $2+ million project to change all those. We just received the cost estimate to do, which the council asked for, to do the remaining lights in the city, which are the city-owned lights on the metal poles, which is about a $2.6 million project. That includes the new annexation area as well. In addition to that, the cost to do the upgrades and take on the lighting in those neighborhoods in the annexation area as well. So,
Yeah, I guess my point's really not about the funding of it. I think it's funding's there, to get the lights down. I mean, drawing down on the city's capacity to get the job done. I mean, we're a year and a half out, and the job is not done. At least a year and a half out from this bid opening, just happened last Thursday on May 17th of 2022.
no, I'll get you an updated answer on the thing you're bringing up from a year ago. But in terms of the capacity, no, it's totally different departments working on those initiatives. And generally speaking, the lighting, we'll write the contract, and then that'll be done via contract and contractor to do the work. So not a large impact, and conflict in terms of our capacity to be able to let those two projects.
Okay, and then the other one is a traffic signal that's been requested for probably 2 years now at McVeigh and Navco. And I see also, this is going to involve our traffic engineering staff and all that for new traffic signal pole, traffic signal heads, pedestrian signals, modifications to traffic control system. And the same point is, are we ever going to get the McVeigh and Navco light installed? And are we diverting our attention to other projects like this in lieu of doing those things?
No, and I'll let Jennifer talk about that specific one.
McVeigh and Navco is just in the order process, but unfortunately, some of our stuff has taken 6, 8, and 12 months to receive now,
So
especially detection.
So I can assume that it's safe for me to assume and for me to share with my constituents that before any of these traffic improvements for this particular project are done, that their request and project would be done first? Because I would imagine you'd
It's
probably.
being done side by side.
Well, let me just state that that part of the descoping of the project was also to remove some of that changing. So we're actually going to be doing that through another means to help fund that piece. But the point being, I understand your point. The point is, hey, one,
2 years out,
right, priority, but two, bandwidth to be able to do it. Not a bandwidth issue to do that. And in terms of priority, as Jennifer said, we can do both at the same time is without an issue. But we're going to be looking to do that as a separate project. And I can talk to you.
Yeah, so just
offline.
a simple yes or no. It's safe to assume, and for me to share with my constituents, that they will be able to have their traffic signal upgrades completed prior to this one being started. Is that a safe?
No, that's not, I don't think that's a fair.
So you've already
assessment.
ordered the traffic signal
Yes,
pole,
we've
traffic
already-
signal
it's
heads
in
for all of this
procurement,
project?
Yeah. We're just waiting on stuff.
And you ordered that simultaneously with the other traffic signal?
We've got probably dozens of projects where we're ordering material right now. About 18 projects where we're ordering material for traffic signal stuff.
Okay, but for this particular project,
It's been ordered.
you've ordered it without the approval of the city council. Is that what I'm understanding?
No.
No,
No, that piece has been separately pulled out. That piece, I think you're seeing it as an add alternate, correct?
Yeah, alternate number 3.
Correct. So that has nothing's going to be put on order for any of that until this is approved here. And that piece was pulled out specifically. It's an add.
and approved previously. Is that what you're saying?
No, it would be added if we decided to do it.
Okay. I'm just having trouble. I'm just having trouble answering to some of my constituents when they see tremendous improvements in downtown, which I love. I mean, I truly do. I love the tremendous improvements, but it's hard for them to level it up sometimes, and say, man, we put in this request 2 years ago. Councilman Reynolds has assured me that this traffic signal upgrade and these lights were going to be replaced. And yet we see the progress continuing in downtown but they're not seeing the impact in their particular area. So I don't know how to level it up with them.
Can I ask a question, Ben, real quick? Jim, every project has a schedule. Could you, by chance, provide us with the with a generalized schedule for performance on both the LED lights and when we have them scheduled to arrive, installation? If we have, the contractor should have it, and I'm pretty sure
We haven't.
Go ahead.
We haven't, this next phase, the final phase of 2.6 million I just talked about, has not been approved and brought to you all for approval. So that's not even out for bid right now.
That's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking for the overall program schedule. You have a program for bid, for design, for bid, award services, and a projected start date, right? That would help us or help someone kind of understand about when and where it would start. And then from that time, you pretty much know about how long the installation process would start. And you could give a generalized time there. And in that way, people would have an idea of how long and when it should start and about where. And it could be adjusted if there was any float in there by simply saying, hey, we had some float time. This is what's going to happen. And that way there's a little bit of understanding. Is that possible?
We're not to that level yet, but yes, I understand what you're asking for.
Yeah, that way, those questions he's answering would just go away because he'd have it in his hands.
Yeah, but sorry,
Um,
Ricardo. But I think you're talking LED lights. He's talking to traffic signal.
I'm talking both.
The traffic
Yeah.
signals work the same way. I don't know if you're dealing with switch gear or the
Yeah,
motor.
that we can get particularly on this intersection. The larger LED light project, we're not to that point yet. We're
Right.
still in a decision process about, do we want to fund it, prioritize it against other competing demands in terms of the larger final conversion of LED lights.
But if you could get him that schedule, then the questions he's answering would be right there in front of him. He'd have a broad and comprehensive understanding of it.
One last comment, and that is that I'm struggling. I'm looking at an email that says there was a bid opening for preformed foundations to replace light posts on Government Street, Airport Boulevard, and Dolphin Street. As soon as we receive the first shipment of foundations, we will begin replacement. And that was, over a year and a half ago. So I'm wondering, what's the holdup and what's the delay? And if we kick off a whole new project, in downtown Mobile, and they're, getting all these great improvements done by way of traffic engineering, how I just don't understand how I can level that up with my constituents. That
I think on the foundation, you're talking about that bid, that was a maintenance element. That wasn't part of a project.
Uh-huh.
And we got all of those in and exhausted the stock that we had last spring. And at that point, we were out of money to fund any additional purchases. So we're now in the process of finishing those by purchasing poles and foundations again, because we had such a high number of poles on Government that were hit. The foundations were bad. They weren't repairable, that we pulled them out, replaced them, replaced the poles, replaced the lights, but we still have a few that are missing. So we're like hitting that again this year. But that was just a maintenance project.
okay. I don't know that answers my question, but I hope you understand my sentiment. That is,
It's going to be ongoing, because as soon as we put up some, they get hit again, especially on Government Street and Government Boulevard. But that was strictly just a yearly maintenance. We exhausted everything we bought by putting it in the ground on Government Street, and a few on Airport Boulevard, but we're continuing that every year. So
Yeah.
we will be buying more foundations and poles this month.
I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but I hope you understand my sentiment in that I understand the TIF. All right. I understand that it's a separate funding source, and we all understand various separate funding sources. I don't have the opportunity to explain to every constituent every time all the various funding sources and why this is in front of this other project and all of that. All they want is results, right? So I'd like to see these projects completed sooner rather than later, before we kick off another big project in downtown Mobile. And my constituents say, once again, looks like we take all of our tax money out of this part and put it in downtown Mobile.
So
And
one of the reasons I stood up is because I want to try to help the situation.
please.
Because you're asking interesting questions. One of the problems that we run into is just what Jennifer mentioned is, we'll have a maintenance piece and then we'll have a new construction piece. But more for a solution, what you all probably see coming before you sooner than later are going to be several ongoing maintenance contracts. So you remember there was and Ms. Gregory and Mr. Small will probably remember this. At some point, there was a great deal of conversation and consternation about mowing issues, right? And it was whether or not we were going to have ongoing maintenance contracts for mowing. And it was a big issue, but now it's a norm, right? In fact, now the council is demanding that, but that wasn't the case before. What you're going to see to try to alleviate some of this confusion, we can't help the backlog, is ongoing maintenance contracts for a number of different things so that we don't have to run out of the back order and restock. And so what made me think about that was what Mr. Reynolds said, you ordered that without the consent of the council, and that's not what happened. So I want to dispel that rumor. The other thing you're going to see come before you in the next few weeks is a change in the contracting ordinance, so we can try to move and do things a little faster. Raising the value to be commensurate with the bid law. Bid law went from 15,000 to 30,000. I think most of you all know that. And then on the public works, it also got increased. But those are two parallel issues that'll help us, in one, move a little bit faster on those issues. And I think Mr. Carroll asked a pretty accurate question about providing you all with schedules and letting you all know where we're going. And that way you can explain to your constituents, what's starting and what's stopping and when it's going. Now, what we can't help is back orders, but we can let you all know when things are on back order and when that's not happening. And so if we prioritize, getting things done faster, that'll probably help. But giving you all an explanation of why it's not happening faster will help even more, I think.
Ms. Greger.
I appreciate that, because that's one of the complaints that we get is how long everything takes, and they don't understand why things take so long. A good example is just our pay-as-you-go program. We are just now beginning to mobilize crews for the pay-as-you-go. That was 2 years ago. And it's hard to explain to folks who I've told for 2 years, yes, your neighborhood's going to be resurfaced. Well, when? Well, it's coming, So having a better idea to, some sort of a generalized timeline, because as soon as you tell them a certain date, it doesn't happen. But a generalized timeline to make sure that people understand that, yes, there's a process that we go through, and yes, you are on the schedule. And that's one of the things I think we've been working on with the website, to try to show people where we are, kind of a dashboard, the different projects that we've got, and they're ongoing and that they're coming ahead, to look ahead so that they know that it's there. One of the things that I did with my pay-as-you-go to help people understand that, yes, your project is coming, is we went ahead and put signs up, because it gets to a point where they just don't believe us anymore. So I had signs put up saying that pay-as-you-go work is coming. And I've just learned that we've got crews mobilizing in the district now. So that's the good news. But I appreciate what you're saying, Ricardo and Jim, about helping us with scheduling and moving things along quicker. So I think that will help.
Mr. Mayor.
If you go back several years, the city of Mobile didn't have anywhere the number of projects that they're doing today. We have a limited number of contractors. It can be electrical, it can be mechanical, and so forth. And so we find ourselves, coordinating all of these contracts. There's no directive from the administration to spend and do the projects downtown ahead of the projects in District 1 or District 7. Okay, we look at everything that's there. We look at the availability of the materials, the availability of the contractors, and we're at the mercy of the contractors so often. Okay, and also as we look at how we're going to, let's say, start these projects and try to make sure that we can finish them. So bottom line is this, is that we are managing more projects than we've ever managed in the history of the city. This is outside money, it's pay-go, it's you name it. And we're doing better. We know that we can still do better, and we will continue to do that. And it's probably the communications part is the thing that we could do a better job on, and we will continue to endeavor to try to give you that information. But I think that if anybody stops and thinks about just their own house, if you're trying to do anything to your house, remodel a kitchen, get a plumber to come, everybody, is a little bit at the mercy of the market. And so I would hope all the city councilors would understand that anytime that there's a specific project like what Councilman Reynolds has said, we can come to this meeting with more information if we're asked the question ahead of time than standing here trying to explain all of it. So to the degree that you can reach out to us and let us know what your questions are, we'll try to come to these meetings or come to your office and explain it to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilman Carroll and Councilman Penn, Councilman Reynolds had mentioned that it's hard for him to explain to his constituents about things not happening in his district, but happening downtown. I think I need to ask Lena to draw up a membership card and tell them welcome to the club. Because we get it all the time. Madam Clerk.
Need to find a solution to it. That's what I'm after.
21-1132 and 1133 are authorizing contract with ProTech Video for telemetry and consulting service, $500,000 and $146,000 per year for 3 years. 21-1134 authorized contract with UAV Survey for engineering and analytics consulting, $80,000 per year for 3 years. 31-1135 authorized contract application to U.S. Economic Development Administration for Economic Adjustment Assistance Grant for GIS-based map upgrades, $1,100,000, 20% local match requirement. Call for public hearings, 41-1136, call for public hearing to rezone property located at 6137 Todd Acres Drive from B5 and I-2 to B5, scheduled November 14th. 41-1137, call for public hearing to consider a modification of a previously approved plan and approval for property located at 65 North Mobile Street, scheduled November 14th. 41-1138, call for public hearing to consider a modification of a previously approved PUD for property located at 65 North Mobile Street, scheduled November 14th. Announcements.
Council. We have a meeting today?
South Alabama Leadership.
South Alabama. Okay.
The leadership team.
Okay, okay. No committee, but just, okay. Anything else from the council?
I've got to ask, if you don't mind, I'll ask you in 30 seconds. All right.
Anything from the administration? Anything from this? Okay. We'll see each other at 10:30.